This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
How is artificial intelligence going to change the venture capital landscape? Are only our VCs only going to be investing in everything AI? Should you be throwing artificial intelligence into your company if you're a startup founder, entrepreneur? I don't know. I don't have all of the answers to these questions, but I have a very special guest today that can help us figure that out. So welcome. This is Everyday AI. This is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping everyday people like you and me not just understand what's going on in the world of AI, but how we can actually use it. So if you are interested in the ever-changing startup landscape, and specifically even how artificial intelligence is really helping to form and shape the future of startups, today's episode is for you. So if you are joining us live, thank you. Make sure to get your questions in now. What do you want to what do you want to know about this changing landscape in venture capital and artificial intelligence and startups? So before we get to that, let's first talk about what's going on in the world of AI news. So first, Britain's AI summit is reportedly not off to a great start. So the UK government, we talked about this last week on the show, is organizing a global summit on AI governance with a focus on potential AI driven problems, right? So this narrow focus, however, has excluded some important voices from UK's own AI industry and has raised some concerns about the inclusion of Chinese officials. So this limited agenda for the summit has already drawn criticism for ignoring more real, immediate, kind of just real world risks of AI and hindering the UK's ability to compete in the industry. So already a lot of criticism toward this Britain's AI summit that was supposed to bring everyone together. And now it's already starting to draw a little bit of controversy. All right, next. A lot of Apple news over the weekend, y'all. So we're going to get to the two biggest ones. So first, new report has said that Apple's some Apple insiders are leaking the company's AI plan for the next iPhone. So Apple rather may be playing catch up to some of its rivals. So Google's Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro that were recently released are AI first smartphones with AI integrated both into the hardware and software. And this has kind of left Apple scrambling a little bit to catch up in the AI race. And they are planning to test some new AI capabilities in the coming months before potentially releasing some of these AI software features in iOS 18. That's not the only Apple news. We'll cap it off with some more Apple news. So some new reports say Apple has a, quote, lot of anxiety about the Gen AI momentum. So Apple was initially caught off guard by sudden focus on AI in the tech industry, and now they're kind of working to catch up. So the company's, get this, y'all, the company's AI team, according to recent reports, has allegedly a budget of $1 billion to be working on generative AI. So Apple is exploring different ways to integrate generative AI into various applications, from development tools to customer service tools, as well as implementing AI to improve user experience. I don't know about y'all, but like $1 billion budget, like that's wild, right? All right, but let's get back to why you joined us today. You probably are here to hear and to talk about artificial intelligence in the VC world and kind of the ever-changing landscape. So with that, please help me welcome to the show. There we go. We have Leon Eisen, an inventor, serial entrepreneur, and venture partner of Network.VC. Leon, thank you so much for joining the Everyday AI Show.
Hi, Jordan. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here. I follow your Everyday AI almost every day, and I like it. A lot of my friends were there. So thank you for inviting me.
No, absolutely. Hey, speaking of friends, we have some of our Everyday AI regulars joining us on the show. So Brian saying good morning. Dr. Harvey saying he's catching it from Texas.
Hi, Harvey.
we have the usual crew. So hey, if you have any questions for Leon just about AI in the venture capital industry and how it's changing, please get those questions in now. So Leon, maybe let's start at the top. Can you tell everyone a little bit about kind of what you do? Because that's a lot. Inventor, serial entrepreneur, venture partner. What is it that you do with Network.VC?
Yeah. But I would like to start from the beginning, I would say. So I have PhD in physics and did my postdoctoral research in quantum computers, specifically laser cooling. And this is created some basis where I am today. So I was working then I left science, spent for a long time and became engineer and then moved to entrepreneurial area. And in 2009, in the middle of crisis, I succeeded to raise the first $1 million. People laughed on me, so I was almost in a level of bankruptcy, but it was very difficult as I burned my boats and finally succeeded and invented the world's first FDA-cleared pulse oximetry monitor at wrist long before everybody else just got into this market. Today, people use my device like a predicate and it's successful in the market. And for 10 years, I was managing Occitan Medical like CEO. I was founder of this company and get this company to somehow success. And so I learned a lot through my experience for a long time. And somehow all planets aligned in one. I think I should get into investment area because I didn't touch it yet. And all the time I was sitting in front of investors and I learn how they think. And then I get into their chair, just sitting on their chair. Now I understand how wrong I was. Then I raised a lot of millions, but actually all the time today I understand how I was wrong with my approach to how investors really think. And now I understand this. And now I teach a lot of startups. I'm not only investing, I'm teaching. I'm mentor of Founder Institute. I'm mentor of many accelerators. And really, the main problem that entrepreneurs, they're not ready to raise money. I didn't see any entrepreneur ready to raise money. 99% of entrepreneurs cannot give you elevator pitch for 30 or even 60 seconds. And somehow they rise. And this is very interesting stuff.
So Leon, you obviously have an impressive a background from all different angles, in venture capital, entrepreneurship, and even the kind of being an inventor yourself. But let's just first kind of get a general understanding. So when we're talking about AI, I'd love to get your kind of vantage point of this, because you do have a background that's more seasoned than most and more well-rounded than a lot of people that we talk to. But when we talk about a general understanding of artificial intelligence, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think it's something that's going to eventually bring us together, or could AI be something that could kind of fracture us, and also with different startups in the industry as well?
Yeah, very interesting question. Thank you very much. First of all, we have to understand what is it AI. I know it's interesting to tell you AI, everyday AI, to talk about what is it AI. But I want to share my understanding. So as you know, IBM 50 years ago defined AI like software that mimics decision making and problem solving by the human mind. I consider AI like some kind of mirror of the human mind. Mirror, so way how we understand ourselves, because we are like a world of humanity are totally unconscious. And how to bring us to consciousness. That's why we have wars. That's why we have injustice. That's why we are in a position where we are today in our world. And my view that AI should help us to understand ourselves and bring our to some conscious level, to awareness about who we are and what we are going to do to continue to thrive like humanity, like civilization. And this is my main mission when I'm investing in AI. I always think about, okay, there is a specific problem AI is solving now, but how this problem looks like a part of the general vision I have to where we're going. And so I developed interesting approach. There is a AI agent, and we challenge this AI agent. Some people tell us that it's disaster, so AI will kill civilization. Other people think differently. They're optimistic. They think, okay, AI will help to bring civilization to the next level. I don't know, but to my understanding, human has some DNA which connected to the quantum field, I would say, to the field. Maybe there is a life beyond our physical life. And definitely we have connections to something that gives us power, gives us intuition, and gives us something that I'm not sure any machine could have. So when people ask me, oh, AI going to kill humanity because AI outperform humanity and will manage humanity back. And I answer, okay, we all know it's proved that when people die, their soul comes out of the body and people see themselves from the top. Now my question, is machine can do it? Dying? Never. So AI asymptotically will continue to be close and close to human knowledge. I call it ultimate knowledge, yeah? And human is growing. AI continuously will approach this growing, but will never cross it. This is my understanding of a place of AI in our life.
Yeah, and Leon, you bring up a lot of interesting points there, right? Because there is definitely, not just in the startup landscape, but I think in the general population as well. Some people are very kind of looking forward to integrating AI into their everyday life. Some people aren't. Some people are hesitant and they say, "Oh, I don't trust it," or "Hey, this could take my job, so I'm going to stay away from it." But I specifically want to even ask you about how this is, how AI's rapid implementation into our daily lives is changing the startup scene, because it seems like from my vantage point, over the last maybe year or two, now every single startup that I see is somehow, integrating AI into their product, into their service. Have you seen this? And is this a good thing or a bad thing for the startup landscape?
This is a very important thing. Today, I do not consider any startup if startup doesn't have AI elements or in their operations or in their product. It's very important because for us, for investors, we are keen to see some optimization of money spent. And today, if you cannot spend money and optimize this spending, you will not succeed. You will be outcompeted by other startups. So it's very important, and this is what I teach startups and in my portfolio and like a mentor and advisor. The first thing I start, let's take a look on your operations. Let's take a look on your business processes. How are you doing customer success? How are you doing marketing and sales? I think today AI should be involved and introduced in all these operation stuff. And if startup doesn't have this, I'm sure I'm not going to invest at all. I'm going to consider this startup at all, but I'm going to help this startup to implement it. Yes, I'm going to help. But again, it's too early to say how many startups will implement. But in 2024, I think the most important part of investment dynamics into startups is to have optimal processes that enable to invest less and to get a return of investment much more.
Leon, something I'm always thinking of specifically when it comes to startups is it seems like, kind of we'll just say pre-ChatGPT, because I think that kind of, put this Gen AI kind of onto the scene. But it seemed like, something you would always see startups doing is investing heavily in maybe certain areas that they didn't need to. So going back to what you just said about, startups needing to work generative AI with their operations, business processes, customer success. Is this changing how even startup teams should be operating? Do they need to have, these huge 6-figure, development teams, even when they're very small, working on an MVP? Is this going to make leaner, smaller startups able to compete? Whereas, maybe 3-5 years ago, they needed a large team.
Absolutely. This is exactly the point, because when we invest, we're looking for high performance, and we're looking for having this startup on the cutting edge of their development and technology today. Definitely, if they had, for example, have 5 sales people and they don't use a CRM that includes AI, just very simple CRM like Excel or something like this, definitely I'm not going to consider this startup like a potential winner. The problem is that it's not market is not ready. Not a lot of HR in AI space, so it's quite difficult to hire people who understand this. But also my approach, I hire in my companies, I usually hire junior people. I never hire high-level professionals. Okay, I can like advisor, right? Like advisor, very good. So my approach, and this is what I ask startups to do. So you should have some junior that has a fresh mind and could learn everything from the beginning without some garbage that this guy bring himself by the age of 50. I know it by myself. It's a lot of garbage that really disturbs, and you have to remove this garbage. Not everybody can do it. So you have to have the fresh mind, and then you have to advise to hire advisor, very professional, very senior guy who can help this young guy to grow. So kill 2 rabbits. First, company will thrive in this case, and second, this guy, young guy, has a huge opportunity to learn quickly and to grow in his career.
I love this. Yeah, I mean, literally, as I say, I love this. Tanya just said, I love this. Someone who is a visionary, he can spot potential. Absolutely. So thank you. If you are joining us, please get your questions in. Dr. Harvey Castor saying, great discussion. I'm working on my startup in AI and healthcare. But a question for you here, Leon. So someone asking, maybe what AI tools are even VCs using these days? So I love that. So we're talking about, how AI is changing things for startups, but what about for VCs? Is it changing? Are these AI tools changing how you operate, and what tools are even VCs using that are kind of AI tools?
Absolutely. Today, many VCs using AI tools, and a lot of startups developing due diligence AI tools for VCs. I know I just got recently some pitch deck of very interesting startup, which enables VC to make due diligence for a couple of hours instead of couple of weeks. So it's amazing opportunity for VC to have the right decisions, because usually VC decide on combination of emotional and analytical stuff, and AI doesn't have emotional stuff. For example, in Network.VC, we put specific plan on investment. So we try to eliminate emotional investment. We invest in company having some numbers and figures already done, like $1 million or $2 million revenue, high growth, some very top 40 venture capital invested before. This just eliminate some emotional stuff. But again, just a couple of days ago, I had very interesting conversation with interesting accelerator and venture fund. It's MedStart. I like this guy. I like their approach, and they use a very sophisticated algorithm for startups due diligence.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI. You know, as we look forward, so if maybe a startup founder is hearing this and they're saying, oh, maybe we're not using AI in all of these places that we should. Maybe we are still, wasting, some of our valuable time and resources by not being efficient with generative AI. Leon, maybe what are, a piece of advice or two that you might have for people working in startups on if they are kind of struggling to get the most out of Gen AI, how can they do so?
First of all, people working in startup do not have struggle with using AI. If they struggle with using AI, they don't have to work in startup. So startup is a very important filter of people who can and who cannot, enable or not. So piece of advice or hire mentor. This is very important. Today, for example, recently I was a judge in one competition, and it was a clear gap between startup founder who has mentor and startup founder, I call them asshole, who think they know everything, they don't need anybody to help them. Then they come to me back and say, okay, I'm out of money now. What I have to do? I said, okay, you should come to me a year ago. Why didn't? So this is very important. Startup founder should understand if he struggle with something, not about AI exactly, with something, with, I don't know, personal issues, with money issues, with management issues, with everything, with culture. It's very important to build appropriate culture. I have a specific course about how to build a culture. And based on quantum business thinking, this is my methodology I developed specifically for startup growth. I invite people to my website, Eisen, leoneisen.com. So you will learn very interesting, unusual things there. So I encourage such entrepreneurs to find mentor. A lot of free mentors around. Go to accelerator, take a mentor, learn, because as I said before, 99% of startup founders cannot give you elevator pitch. I'm not talking about that they have to do it in the middle of night when you just wake up, and they have to do it immediately. They cannot do it after, 10 minutes of conversation. And that's why pitch deck is totally wrong, because usually elevator pitch you build from the pitch deck. First, you build the pitch deck, you identify your objective, you identify your key results at the end of your journey, startup journey, to understand what kind of exit you have to have. And then they don't know how to make elevator pitch. So if people cannot give me elevator pitch, it means I don't have to open pitch deck, because pitch deck is totally wrong. This is what I understand, because they didn't get anything through writing this pitch deck.
Yeah. It's so interesting, because I do think, as we start to rely more on these generative AI tools, it does take away, I think, some of the startup founders' ability to think, into rationale, into reason, and to communicate. Because if you do come overly reliant on these generative AI tools, it almost comes harder, I think, Leon, to maybe, quote unquote, show your work, or, hey, how did you come from point one to point B? Well, if you relied on, 2 or 3 Gen AI tools to do the heavy lifting, that's okay. But you have to be able to, like you said, you have to be able to still deliver the pitch and to explain the rationale behind the decision makings.
Exactly. As I said before, AI is not me. IBM said. AI, by definition, should mimic decision making, but somebody should make decision making. So AI mimics, you make it, and you have to calibrate your understanding of AI in order to deliver what AI gave you.
Absolutely. So, Leon, we've talked about it a lot in today's show so far, everything from some best practices on how startups can, better use generative AI tools, how the landscape is changing a little bit. But one thing I kind of wanted to end today's show on is how is AI changing everything for VCs, for, venture capitalists, maybe people in private equity. So, you kind of gave one example of, there's startups even now working on generative AI tools to help VCs kind of, do their due diligence a little faster. But, outside of that, kind of a specific example, how, even for you, how is generative AI changing the role of a venture capitalist and, private equity and these companies that are investing in startups?
Dramatically. For me, dramatically, because first of all, it accelerates my job, very much accelerate. And second, it accelerates my understanding what I'm looking for, because again, I can use AI for my decision making. It's very difficult to think out of the blue. Okay, here is a list of cons, here is a list of pros. No, I ask AI, what do you think? But very important to make a correct prompt. But actually change my understanding how I'm going to invest, how I'm going to build a company, and yeah, it's critical. But I cannot consider how AI help VC industry without considering all the industry. As you know, that Price Waterhouse said that by 2030. AI will increase our industry growth by 14%. So all goes together. It's like in frontal, like in front. All goes together. So AI introduction in horizontal and vertical in industrial enterprises, and the whole industry is growing, and venture capital should thrive, because optimization of startups, optimization of investment, make automation of investment tools, reducing some emotional components to some level. It's important, but to some level, for people who cannot give their emotions. But in any case, what I have to say by conclusion, do not think that AI will help to entrepreneurs. This is what I tell to entrepreneurs. AI won't help you unless you have created wow effect. It doesn't matter using AI, something else, blockchain. It's just, finally, it will be commodity. It's commodity. And it's just tool. You, like a human being, you should create, craft, wow effect to success in your business.
So much great advice, Leon. So thank you. Like I said, we covered so many things on this. Thank you so much for coming on the Everyday AI Show and just sharing about kind of AI's impact in venture capital. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jordan. It was a great conversation. Thank you.
Oh, agree. And hey, there was a lot, Leon mentioned, his website. So make sure you also go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter there, because we're going to be recapping not just everything that Leon talked about, but there's going to be a lot more. So sharing some different insights and really helping you all unpack this extremely valuable conversation. So thank you for joining, and we hope to see you back for another episode of Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.